Hi guys, Christy here from the Stamp Cycle, and welcome to another video from my YouTube channel and blog. For today's card, we're using this Sale-a-bration stamp set called Avant Garden. You can get this stamp set free with a $50 qualifying purchase. This is one of the special Sale-a-bration stamp sets, and you can only get that by earning it and by spending that $50. So this is a really gorgeous stamp set. I love it. It's photopolymer. I wanted to show you here how I come up with my card designs a lot of times. And so instead of wasting cardstock when I'm trying to put together a card, I have a stack of copy paper that I've cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'll just grab a piece of that when I want to test out colors or test out a pattern. And so that way I'm not wasting precious cardstock. So that's a little tip for you. So now I'm going to start on my stamping here, my card. I have the stitched shapes framelits, and I took the second largest circle, and I just used a pencil to outline the center part of that circle. And I'm going to use this as the guide for stamping all of my flower images. I am using my stamp pad there. This is a photopolymer stamp set. And I find that by using the stamp pad, I get a really nice, crisp, evenly stamped image, as opposed if I just stamp this directly on to the cardstock by using my craft pad there. So this is a really great tool to have if you like to use photopolymer stamp sets. So now I'm just stamping the flower image. I'm using Pool Party ink and then Dapper Denim, and I just stamped one each of the Pool Party and then the Dapper Denim, kind of overlaying it there, and I'm stamping them in opposite sides of that circle. And now I'm going to come in with Mint Macaron and Wild Wasabi inks, and I'm going to stamp the leaf images. I'll start with this more oval shaped image, and I'm going to stamp it with the full power of the ink and then stamp it again so that I get that second generation stamping. And then I've just got a scrap piece of paper here that I'm going to stamp off on so that some of my flowers are just second generation stamping. So when I get all of those petals or leaves, I guess you could call them, stamped, I'm going to come in with that Wild Wasabi, and I'm going to stamp this other leaf image. And I'm going to only stamp that using the second generation stamping. So I'm going to stamp off first and then come in here and stamp this image. I'm also going to just use my finger and wipe off the ink of that stem so that I can put that flower where I want it without having to do any masking. So now I've got the speckled kind of circle pattern stamp, and I'm just going to stamp that twice there using some Versamark ink. And then I'm going to also stamp the center of the flowers using that Versamark ink, because we're going to be covering this with some copper embossing powder and then heat setting. I did apply a generous amount of my embossing buddy before I did stamp this Versamark, so that way I don't get any stray embossing powder where I don't want it. So now again, I'm just going to take that copper embossing powder. I'm going to pour that all over my stamps images here, and then I'm going to take a just a dry clean paintbrush, and I'm going to just sweep away the embossing powder for where that stamped on top of my flower images. I want these dots to appear to be behind the leaves and behind the flowers, so it's really easy to do. You just kind of brush it away with your paintbrush, and no one knows that you stamped over it and didn't mask. So now I'm going to work on the greeting. I've got a scrap piece of Whisper White cardstock here. I'm going to stamp that Happy Birthday Wishes in Versamark, and again apply some of that copper embossing powder and heat that. So now I'm just going to cut out this this sentiment with that same circle die that I used as my guide there for my flower stamping. And it cuts out a beautiful stitched decoration around the circle there. And then I'm going to trim this card panel down. I want it to be slightly smaller than a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 size panel. So I cut about 1/8 of an inch off each side, and then about 2/8 of an inch off the bottom. And now I'm just going to use some Tombow multi-purpose glue to adhere this to a top folding A2 card base made out of some Dapper Denim cardstock. I've got some 3M foam adhesive here that I'm just going to apply onto the back of my die cut here, and then I'll just adhere that to the front of the card. And then to add some additional bling, I'm just going to add some of these sequins. I've got a couple blue ones and then some of this kind of brown color that I thought looked really nice with that copper embossing powder. So the original card that I made, I added some copper thread along the bottom, and I was trying to decide if I liked the card with the copper thread or without the copper thread. And now that I made this one and didn't add that thread, I actually like it better without that copper thread. But you'll see here, I'll bring both cards up for you to look at side by side, and you tell me which one do you like better, with the thread or without the thread. So thank you guys for stopping by today. For more information or to ordering the supplies you've seen today, head on over to my blog at www.thestampcycle.com. And thank you guys again, and I'll catch you on the next video. Bye.